Hi, my name is Alexis Blanc, and this is my final project for Women in the Body. And I've really thought about what I wanted to speak for this video on, and I really just wanted to go over the basics of just women and the body and our sexuality, and how it's kind of altered throughout the years of growing up. So to begin, I think something that we reviewed in this class that's extremely important is the fact that from a young age, girls are conditioned to view themselves in a certain light and to really cater to society and how they view us as opposed to how we view ourselves. And something that I've noticed was social media especially plays such a vital aspect to this, just this idea of how we view ourselves because of society's standards. So growing up, I didn't really have like a social media account like an Instagram until I was about a junior in high school. It's about 3 years ago. And I can honestly say that I think avoiding having like an Instagram and a Twitter helped to preserve my own personal self-esteem because I didn't necessarily have models that I was looking at on an everyday basis, or the Kardashians, or just, those people that are idolized by society for having extremely feminine and beautiful curvy bodies. And I think that now someone who is growing up in such a technological era where they have instant access to people who are famous on these networks just has had extremely kind of negative effects. Growing up, I didn't really start wearing makeup until I was in high school, maybe about a sophomore. And even then, it wasn't because I felt like I had to. It was because it was something I wanted to try. I would maybe put on a little bit of mascara, some lip gloss, call it a day, maybe some blush if I was feeling it. And now I feel like young girls are growing up with the expectations that they need to wear makeup or even dress a certain way to appeal to a man's eye. Something that we deal with on a regular basis, I feel like, is just being over-sexualized, whether we're going to school, whether we're at work, with some friends, just out in public. The looks we get, the comments that are made towards us, it just really does make you realize that women are just put through everything. I think before I entered college and before I had the opportunity to take these classes that educated me on women in the body and just how we are looked at in society, I really would just get these comments and these looks and I would just, put them in the back of my head. It didn't really bother me. I would laugh about it, maybe thank someone for saying I looked extremely sexy or whatever it may be. And now I find myself to really second guess these comments and these looks that I'm getting. I feel like I'm much more aggressive, I would say, with my own personal sexuality. And before, I might be looking to dress a certain way, maybe for other people. And now it's more for just the occasion. And if I'm going out with some girlfriends, if I want to dress up because I'm out with my girlfriends, not because I'm out with my girlfriends, it's a group of girls and we're going to be attracting all the guys to us, nothing like that. I feel like now I do things for myself and I know that I'm doing them for myself as compared to before where I would kind of be on the edge of doing it for myself, but also I'm looking for this type of attention because I've really had just second thoughts about everything and how I previously was contributing to these over-sexualized thoughts and ideas that were coming my way. And I feel like because I've become more educated on the matter, I'm a lot more upfront with how I present myself and how I look. And I've honestly noticed an attitude shift with myself that I feel like have kind of affected the energy around me because now I am a lot like I don't attract as much negative attention having to do with my sexuality like I used to. So yeah, that's to cover the first half. And I also really thought that an interesting aspect that we learned through this course was the idea that women of color are put on such an extreme, like, just there's just a huge difference of things that they have to face compared to things that maybe other women don't have to face. One of the most interesting articles I thought we read was, I believe, in Unit 1, and it was the article about the Bratz doll, how someone called a girl, like, you look like a Bratz doll. And I really thought about this as I was reading it, because you have Bratz and Barbie dolls. Those were the two dolls I grew up with. And when you look at a Barbie doll, it's predominantly going to be like a lighter skinned in complexion. They have like blue eyes, light hair, tend to be taller and more just, parallel to each other. Like the edges are kind of, straight. And then you look at a Bratz doll and they're darker all around. The ones that I had were definitely a little bit shorter than my Barbie dolls and were very extremely curvy. So even growing up playing with these, I already was forming thoughts in my brain of kind of thinking, oh, dark has to do with more curvy, and dark has to do with more attitude, and light has to do with more family oriented, because all the Barbie dolls I had men, and they had a family together, and they came with little plastic babies, while the Bratz dolls were more kind of fashionable, or so I already started forming these thoughts around kind of color, sexuality, like family life, and just everything all around, and how it kind of all became one and intersected. So I think this is something that is also played up from not just Barbie and Bratz dolls, but also through society and media, movies, TV shows, all of that. On Twitter, especially, this is something that I see where there's always a new trend going on around dark curvy women, and then it's just ever changing, and whenever anything is affiliated with darker women, it has to do based on their body type and how curvy it is compared to other women, which this is something that kind of has been formed throughout, just generations, and it's something that is, that's just how it is. What else can I say? That's just how it is. Something else too that I thought was interesting that correlates to kind of women and sexuality is the video that we had to watch, the passing video by Mr. Reed, I believe, Mitchell Reed, yes. Something that I don't think many people take into consideration is the idea of how difficult it must be going from maybe a boy in society to a girl in society, and how when you believe that how you look on the outside doesn't match who you are on the inside, how difficult it must be to take the next step and transition. I think the video really did educate me, because there are many things I discovered that I didn't know were wrong, that are wrong, of ways I thought, and it just made me realize that being a woman is hard enough, but being like a trans woman is even harder. And the ideas of, say, growing up and having society look at you as a little boy, you don't really have to think twice about what you're going to wear, or you don't even have to think about wearing makeup, because God forbid a boy wears makeup. And then going from that to being a passive female, you have to put into account everything, what kind of shoes you're going to wear, if they're high heels or flats, or if you're going to wear this skirt because it goes above your knee 5 inches instead of at your knee, and just everything, how it can really have an impact on immediately changing from like one gender to another from society's outlook, because they're already holding you to these standards that you are still learning about yourself. And I think that the video and the articles of experiences that people have had to face were really eye-opening because I never thought twice about it. I thought that, I mean, it's kind of expected, which it might be, but the experiences are definitely altered, and everyone has their own economic, cultural, racial, just everything changes for each person, and we never know who's going through what and how their experiences are different from the person next to us. Although you might be the same skin color, you might have different economical standings, and how you might be a student but you're a worker, and just everything across the board is different for everyone, and experiences are extremely reliant on how you fall across society, wherever it is in each of the categories. So this class has really taught me a lot. It's made me realize a lot more about myself and about how I grew up and where my privilege lies versus other people's. And I think it's made me a lot more of a hardcore feminist than I was prior to this class. I think it's made me respect my body more and also care less about what society thinks, because no matter what, they're going to have their views on what I should or should not be wearing and how much makeup I should or should not have on. And I really did learn a lot from this class and a lot from my peers. So thank you so much for this opportunity to learn and grow, because I most definitely did. Anyways, I hope this was kind of useful and helpful, and thank you so much.